Good afternoon, YouTubers. Once again from Russ and Adam's garage. I'm sitting in my Shelby GT350, and today I wanted to talk to you about some of the drive modes that you can select in the GT350, how you can customize those modes, and what they change when you select the different modes. So I'm just going to make this a quick video, down and dirty. We're just going to cut right to the chase, and we're going to go over some of these modes. So first off, all of your adjustments are going to be made here on the steering wheel, and here, down here, you can also adjust the exhaust with this button here. And then you can also go through the menus here and do it manually. So kind of three different places where you can, scroll through and select different things for the car. But mainly for our purpose, we're going to be here on the steering wheel with the mode selector, the damper selector, the steering selector, and then also down here with the exhaust. Okay, so let's get right into it. So what different modes do you have available in the GT350? You've got the normal mode, sport mode, weather, track, and drag. Okay, so what do those modes change? Now, I'm not an all-knowing engineer for Ford that knows every parameter that's changed when you go through those modes. But what I do know that changes are first, the damper settings, steering feel. It also changes the advanced track and traction control sensitivity, and what amount of wheel slippage and slip angles it'll allow you to carry. And it also changes the exhaust. So recap: steering, dampers, throttle response, exhaust, traction control, and the advanced track is what it will adjust as you scroll through the different modes. So let's start with the normal mode. Okay, so here in the normal mode, what it selects is it puts the dampers defaulted in normal. You can change them over to sport. It also puts the steering feel defaulted in normal. You could change it to sport or comfort. And then it also defaults the exhaust here. If I play with that, it defaults the exhaust in the normal or quiet mode, where only 2 of the 4 exhaust tips are open. You can change that over to sport if you'd like to. And then obviously all your nannies are on in the normal mode. Traction control and advanced track are in full protection mode, if you will. The only way that they do get more sensitive is if you put the car in the weather mode, and we'll go into that next, or a little bit later. So the next mode, let's talk about sport. So what does sport do? Sport gives you a little bit more leeway with the advanced track and traction control. It's going to allow you larger slip angles, a little more wheel slip. It also defaults the dampers into sport mode. You can put them back to normal. And it defaults the steering into sport mode. And lastly, it defaults the exhaust in sport mode. And one more thing, it's going to make your throttle response a little bit more aggressive. Okay, next mode, you have the weather mode. In weather, your stability control and advanced track are going to be full sensitivity, the most intrusive. Your throttle response is also going to be retarded. It's not going to be as sensitive. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So with the weather mode, it only allows you to select the dampers in the normal mode. Steering, it defaults to normal, and then the exhaust is also defaulted to normal. So that's your weather mode. Let's look at the next one, which is, to me, is the most interesting and taught me a little bit about the drive modes, and that's the track mode. It says track use only. You can see the advanced track traction control off light comes on. It is not actually completely off, but it is in a very, very reduced level. It will allow slip angles. It'll allow tire slippage in the rear. Your throttle response is going to be the most aggressive. But I have been on track with it in the track mode, and if you do exceed a certain slip angle, it will intervene and apply the brakes to bring the car back straight and trim and cut the throttle back so that you don't, spin out and crash the car. If you do want to turn everything off, the way you would have to do that is you put it in track mode, you depress the brake, and then you hold down this button here, which is the traction control and advanced track button. You hold that down for 7 seconds, and we'll wait a full 7 seconds, and what you're going to see is now you see the advanced track off button, and now everything is in fact completely off, and you can go out and have fun and hopefully not crash your car. Okay, so let's get back into explaining the track mode. Okay, so track mode is going to give you a couple more settings in the with the dampers. So track, when you go to dampers, now I have damper mode set to track or sport. So it doesn't allow me to select the normal mode, but it gives me another option to select the dampers in their stiffest setting, which is track mode. Okay, here's one more thing I also learned about the what's called the drag strip drive mode. So when you go to the drag strip drive mode, you can see the dampers, you can see the little the tree, you know, the drag strip start tree there that pops up. Also launch control becomes active. So in order to select this mode, I'm not sure what the parameters are. Either the engine oil temperature has to be above a certain degree, or you have to have driven the car for a certain amount of time, but you can't just start the car up and try to select that mode. It will say drive mode not available. And that may also be the case with the track mode. If the engine oil temperature, or if the car hasn't been running for a certain amount of time, like I said, I'm not sure which it is, but there's some parameter that has to be met before you have all of the modes available to you. So when you go to the drag strip mode, it will automatically, once this screen closes out, bring you to the track apps page. And on this page, you can go to status, and it shows you what the status is of you know, the car. So it's in drag strip mode, the steering's in normal, advanced track is set to drag, launch control's on, the dampers are set in drag strip mode, and the exhaust is set to sport. You can also do that. See, now it's saying track mode is not available because the car, I haven't met the parameters required. The car's not started right now. Maybe the oil temperature isn't up to the right degree, but it's not allowing me to select the track mode. But you can also go to that page, this page right here, in all the other modes, and you can see, you know, what the car is set to. For example, let's go to sport. Okay, sport, it's saying that's not even available because of, you know, what we're doing right now. So, but if you're in the normal mode, you know, advanced track's on, the throttle set in normal, steering's in normal, launch control's defaulted to off. I can turn that on here with this switch down here. Like I said, you can customize the different modes, but let's get back to business. Let's get back to the drag strip mode. So when I go there, it brings you to this page. You can select the line lock feature. I can't right now because the car, I haven't met all the parameters required, right? But I can go to launch control. I can set the RPM. They give you a range between 4,000 and 6,000. The exhaust mode, performance shift indicator, you can set that, the little heads up display for the shift indicator. You know, here's the accelerometer. Acceleration timers right there. You know, you can scroll through the different acceleration timers. Lap timer, 3 different tracks you can set. That's what it's going to show. I have to hold OK to exit. So let's see if this works. There we go. Okay. So sorry, lap timer, brake performance. I can view and clear results. Okay, so that's it. So let's see what the drag strip drive mode does for us as far as damper settings. You only get one damper mode, which is drag strip. Steering is defaulted to normal. The exhaust is defaulted to open. And the traction control is on, stability control is on, launch control is on, and I'm just going to venture to guess that the throttle is in a more sensitive, aggressive mode like the track mode is. I don't know exactly what the parameter is, but what I discovered in going through these modes is if you just go to, for example, the normal mode and you go to dampers, it may make you think that you only have normal and sport for selections of dampers, but you don't. You just have to go to a different mode and it will allow you to have another selection. You actually have 4 different damper settings: normal, sport, drag, and track. Steering, you have normal, sport, and comfort. Then you have all the parameters for the throttle response. You also have different modes for the advanced drag mode, track mode, sport mode, normal mode. So this car, you can really go through and customize your drive modes. The way I like to drive the car, the way I normally drive the car, is, for example, I'll go to sport mode, which defaults my exhaust to open. Okay, I'm saying right now I can't do it, but defaults the exhaust to open. It's going to make my throttle response a little bit more sensitive, which I like. And then I go to the dampers and I set them back to normal, because in sport I think it's too stiff for daily driving. In track it's even more stiff, and in track mode is even too stiff for bumpy tracks. If you're on a bumpy track, put the dampers in the sport mode or in normal if it's a really bumpy track, say like at Road Atlanta or at the Nürburgring, it's a bumpy track. I'd probably leave the dampers in sport so the car isn't over dampened and isn't too stiff. So just some things that I discovered about the car: the customization, the ability to customize the drive modes and exactly what they do for you, and realizing there's not something wrong with your car if it says drive mode not available. It just means that you have not met the requirement to select that drive mode. As always, comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any questions, or if there's any videos you'd like to see, or something else you'd like to see about the car, if you want me to go over the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with you, or whatever, please leave it, your questions or remarks in the comments section. And once again, thanks for watching, guys.